I'm all about having a positive impact on the internet, right? There's a real human on the other end of that, and it's a connection. And while we do, B to B, B to C, it really is H to H. It's human to human, no matter what level you're playing at. And as humans, we want to connect with humans. We don't want to connect to an AI that we can just feel, it feels off. I think if that was someone's first video or something and that's what they did to get started, awesome, cool. But when I see that, I mentally switch off. I'm like, I want to hear from a real person. I don't want to hear how an AI thinks something should be done. I want to hear how that person did it and what are their thoughts and opinions. What's the human piece? And I think this is the big opportunity for people to not be cutting corners to that level and go, oh, just create content. More content means more results. It's absolute BS.
Welcome to Social Pulse Podcast B2B Edition, your dedicated source for mastering B2B social media marketing challenges authentically. I'm your host, Mike Galton, and in each episode, we dive deep into the complex world of B2B marketing, from effective content creation to strategic social selling, sharing insights and strategies you can use right away. Let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to Social Pulse Podcast B2B Edition, where each and every week we're talking to marketing professionals like you, going through many of the same struggles you're going through and sharing their stories. Subscribe to find in each episode the inspiration, the motivation, and the perspiration that go into growing and scaling organizations like yours. Now, I'm wondering, are you struggling to produce enough video content to meet your B2B marketing goals? You know video is essential for engagement, but the production process is slowing you down. You've got ideas, but limited time, resources, and perhaps technical know-how to bring them all to life. How many potential leads are you missing because that product demo or customer testimonial video is still sitting in your someday folder? The pressure to create more content across more channels is mounting, but your video production capacity isn't keeping pace. And this challenge is exactly what our guest today has been solving for entrepreneurs and marketers worldwide. Justin Brown, co-founder of Primal Video and a seasoned film producer with over 20 years of experience, has built a seven-figure video marketing company by helping businesses multiply their video content production. With over 1 million YouTube subscribers and a proven track record of turning video into revenue, Justin has developed systems that allow entrepreneurs to become their own video teams. Today, he's here to share his insights on how AI tools can help B2B marketers scale their video content without sacrificing quality or authenticity. Hey, Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Excited to have you here. Appreciate you taking the time. Before we dive into AI tools, could you share a bit about your journey from a traditional film production company to helping businesses like ours scale their video marketing efforts?
Yeah, it's been a journey. I got to tell you, when I started, I didn't have as many gray hairs as I do now, but this space changes quick. So especially now with AI. But where I started, yes, I was making videos, corporate videos for people. I even filmed like underground mining training videos, that kind of stuff. Then into action sports. But on the corporate side, it got to the point where I the limit for the company was however many videos they could produce with me producing them for them. And they'd spend their budgets on the production side, but then not have much left over for the marketing side. I'm like, well, it's not a build it and they will come. YouTube doesn't work that way. And we've been through that with our channel too, where you just put up stuff and it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful, doesn't mean people are going to find it. So we kind of went down the rabbit hole of, what if instead we helped people make videos easier themselves, the more authentic, real videos, which were converting and still are converting much, much better for businesses. What if we help people with that piece and then through to how they can actually get eyeballs on that? So that's kind of been the journey that we're on. And yeah, it's awesome with some of these AI tools and things now that are going to make this process much, much easier for people.
Yeah. So speaking of AI, what was the turning point where you realized AI could have such an impact, maybe even be a quote unquote game changer for video content production, particularly for B2B marketers?
I think where it came in first was, look, there've been lots of little AI tools around for a long time now.
Yeah.
But I think when ChatGPT really sort of hit the mainstream and you see all the different use cases as a sounding board for helping people create scripts, structuring their content, coming up with ideas, all of that piece became really, really easy for people because there's now a tool that most people seem to be using or have easy access to. So the the prep, the planning stage now, which a lot of people procrastinate around, can now be really, really streamlined, let alone all the tools that are going to help you with the filming and the editing piece too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm not gonna say which tool it was. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but pre-ChatGPT, I was testing an AI-based tool. So this is 2022 and was completely underwhelmed with what that tool was able to provide. And at that point, it wasn't conversational. You would type in what you wanted and you would pick from like a drop down or a template and that sort of thing and choose a voice. And like if I wanted a video script, it was awful. Even if I picked a voice, it was like Gary V's voice or something, just not my voice. That's Gary's voice. Even if it was accurate, it's still not my voice, right? So it was definitely been a struggle, and there's definitely come along a long way. I know a lot of the B2B marketers listening, they struggle with time, they struggle with expertise. There's so much that needs to go into video production. You've kind of intimated there's a lot of tools available today now, even some good ones. What would you say like the top 2 to 3 might be having the most transformative impact on businesses when it comes to video content?
I think in terms of the planning, if we're starting at that piece, look, there's so many options now, and it's literally changing week to week as to which is the best one. Like 3 weeks ago, my answer would be totally different to what it is now as to which one's working the best, and next week it might be something different. But with things like Grok, Claude is one that we've used a lot, and that was my top pick for a long time. Gemini has stepped up recently. So it doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned which one of those, as long as you've got one of those to help you create, come up with ideas, structure your content, and even help with research and those kinds of things. That's the planning side. We want to be having, I guess, other eyeballs on your business. It's like employing a content production team to come and plan and help everything with you. So definitely start out with something like that to help you come up with ideas, planning, structuring. But then in terms of the making content, the standout tool for me right now is Descript, which has been around for a long time. And it's what we're using to create all of our content. I'm recording directly into Descript. So there's no AI on the recording piece. But once it's in there, there's AI to remove all my ums, ahs, so's. It actually can do a base edit. So it'll remove all of my bad takes, mistakes, retakes, all of that stuff. And, 10 years into this journey, there's still a lot. So we're saving a bunch of time on that. Through to then some of the cool stuff that it's got in there to fix your background noise. Or even if you are looking off camera, it can adjust your eyes to bring them back so it looks like you're looking at your viewers and talking directly to them. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that that you can bring in. If you make a mistake, you can type the new words that you want to say. So in our case, if I create a video and it doesn't go out for 4 weeks, if there's a pricing change, then I can just type in a new price and it will say it in my voice and it will match the tonality of the entire sentence. So it sounds real. So as saving you from going reshooting a video because of a little detail like that, it's now made that piece much easier as well.
Oh, I could not agree more. I have my own podcast, the AI Hat Podcast, and prior to the holidays, 2024, that podcast was called AI and Marketing Unpacked. And I decided over the holidays to rebrand and refocus, which meant all the episodes that I'd recorded prior to December 25th, 2024, I said, "Welcome to the AI and Unpacked podcast." And thankfully, I used a script, and it's just that simple. Highlight that text, click on regenerate, type in, "Hey, say the AI Hat podcast" instead of what it was before, and it sounds just like me because I've trained it. For those who are listening, who've not used the script, the first time you want to use that tool, the regenerate tool, it just has you go through a couple steps to train it on your voice and your tone and your style of speaking, and then from that on, boom, anything make a little mistake like that, that's super easy to fix. And I loved your point about the LLMs as well, because you're right. All the major large language models are racing against each other to put out new models, faster models, new features, and that sort of thing. And that's great. But the businesses and the marketers, you guys listening right now, don't worry about that. Pick one and stick with it because they're all fine at this point. Use Claude, use ChatGPT, use Gemini. I love Gemini. I'm in there every single day. We were talking before the show. I use Claude to write these pre-show documents and that sort of thing. Use what you want. So that's fantastic. But one of the things that we're kind of skirting around, I think, is this concern that a lot of marketers and business people have that AI may make content feel less authentic or even too polished. So, how can B2B marketers leverage AI while maintaining human connection and that sense of authenticity?
I think this is a really big point because there's a lot of people that we'll see out there, a lot of advertising as well, people pushing AI as the solution. And AI will make your videos for you. It'll come up with a script, it'll create an avatar for you, a fake person, or it'll even make you the fake avatar, using your voice, your image, your scene from a photo or something like that. So I'm not talking about that. I don't think people should be doing that because at that point, it's not you. It's not your message. It's not your words. I'm saying we can use them as tools to help you refine your message, to make sure that you're not missing anything, to make sure that you're structuring your content in a way where it can be consumed easily so that it is engaging, that we keep people watching. So that's really the key is to use the AI piece as a sounding board for the prep and it still make it yours. Don't just run with it because I don't know about you, but I've experienced so many times where the AI will just hallucinate and give me wrong information. One recently, I was like, "How much is CapCut, the video editing application? How much is it in US dollars?" And it said $99. I'm like, "That doesn't seem right." "Oh, I'm so sorry. It's actually 7.99 a month or whatever it is." Like the fact that there's people out there that would just take that first response as fact and go and allow that to create content, without their piece in there, then I think that's where you're opening yourself up to, well, first off, being disingenuous, but also having your viewers see that, especially if it's wrong, bad advice. So the integrity piece, the human piece, you still need to bring that into that too. And likewise with your editing, you and the production piece. I think now we're in this amazing age where we don't need to be over editing our videos, which makes it easier, but it also makes it more raw, more real as well, and more engaging. And that's the piece that you're not going to get in these fake AI generated videos is that human connection. So I think while you can make your eyes look at the camera, they do look a little soulless. So I would only use that feature sparingly and only if it was to help you create the videos. Like if for your first ones, if you're freaking out, you're scared, awesome, cool. Let's use those tools to get you creating content. Let's get those runs on the board. Let's get your confidence up. But once you've done a few, then it's easier then. So then we can push our comfort zones a little bit further. So I'm all about getting people to start because if you start, you're more likely to continue. Whereas so many people want to have all their ducks in a row and have everything figured out, and they don't actually start, which means they're not moving towards their goal. They're not hitting their KPIs or anything like that.
Oh, that's definitely a challenge for me personally. It's always uh, that need to have all the ducks in a row, as you say. So I've had to really force myself to push things out, whether it's for Agorapulse or my own work. And I was just having a conversation with Mark Schaefer this afternoon, and he was talking about this YouTuber Michael. I'm gonna get the last name wrong, so I'm not even gonna try, but this guy, he says, has incredibly viral videos, and when asked, "Why are your videos so viral, and how come all these people who are trying to copy you aren't able to achieve the same results?" And he's because I don't edit out all the mistakes. It's very raw, it's very uncensored, and that comes across as being authentic, and that gets reflected time and time again with every social media marketer I talk to and all these podcasts for Agorapulse, even the platforms themselves like TikTok, when I talk to them. It's UGC content or brand created content that kind of mirrors UGC in its rawness and authenticity. That's what people want to consume the most. And so I'm just curious because we talked a moment ago about like the digital and virtual avatars that people can create with AI today. Do you see any business use case for those? Because frankly, I really don't personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I see people using them, but I don't think that it's going to have a positive. Look, I'm all about having a positive impact on the internet, right? There's a real human on the other end of that, and it's a connection. And while we do, B to B, B to C, it really is H to H. It's human to human, no matter what level you're playing at. And as humans, we want to connect with humans. We don't want to connect to an AI that we can just feel. It feels off. I'm not sure. Like, there's so many videos on YouTube now where I hit play and that it's not real. It's an AI generated voice. It's just images that are moving or generated B roll. Like, I think if that was someone's first video or something, and that's what they did to get started, awesome, cool. But when I see that, I mentally switch off. I'm like, I want to hear from a real person. I don't want to hear how an AI thinks something should be done. I want to hear how that person did it and what are their thoughts and opinions. What's the human piece? And I think this is the big opportunity for people to not be cutting corners to that level and go, oh, just create content. More content means more results. It's absolute BS. Less videos that are real, are authentic, and are targeting your customers, your clients, and helping them, adding value to the internet. That's really not going to change. So if anything, as we get more into this AI thing, the people that are not being lazy in their content creation and are being mindful and thoughtful about what it is they're putting out, those are the people that are going to succeed, as far as I see it.
Could not agree more. In fact, I'll link in the show notes below for you folks a resource I've got on my own site, the AI Work Buddy. That's basically just instruction that you can load up into GPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever you want to use and help customize and personalize the AI. So when you're talking to it, it can reflect things in your voice. It understands your business and understands your goals. It makes it so much better and easier to strategize video content and so on. I'm wondering, Justin, if you could walk us through a specific example of a B2B company maybe that might use AI to turn one video recording session into all kinds of different pieces of content for different kinds of channels.
So there's lots of people share like a repurposing strategy around this stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you are smart and you are strategic with the content that you're creating, then you can repurpose it. But I think the biggest area that people go wrong when they are repurposing or creating multiple pieces of content from one is that they're just thinking about how many videos can I cut out of this instead of what is the viewer experience like wherever this video is going. So if we had a long form podcast, yes, a strategy is that you could chop it into little pieces and take them out and put them on the different platforms. But from the viewer experience, that can work well. But it's also the viewer would know then that this is just a snippet from a piece of podcast, which again could be good because it might tease them to uh, go and listen to that podcast or watch that longer form piece of content. But it might also be a deterrent because they're like, well, I've missed out. And this little piece of content that I've given my attention to, and I'm giving up time from my day to watch, it doesn't feel right. It feels off because it's not created specifically for me in this moment. So what I see work much better than just repurposing a long form content. And look, still do that test. It's always test, right? Because you might have some that take off and some that don't. And repurposing your long form stuff, it might still be benefit to you and it's a low effort thing. But what I found works much better is create intentional content off the back of a long form piece of content. So you could summarize it for people. You're giving them the TLDR. Here's the top answer, but it's created specifically for the viewer on that platform. It's like if I said in my Instagram video that was repurposed from YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. The viewer's going to go, there's no subscribe button on Instagram. I know that this was just cut from it doesn't, it feels off. So we want to be really hyper aware of what is the viewer experience like for our content if we are repurposing it. And what I've seen work really well is people just reshooting it. So they'll do their long form podcast and they'll have their notes from it or wait till their editor's done it for them. They got their show notes, then do a quick recap video. If you're looking for the top 5 social media platforms or whatever, here they are. Like list them all out. And this is just a quick snippet from our long form podcast, which you can go and watch. That content created strategically or intentionally for the viewer will normally resonate and connect and work so much better than just slapping bits and pieces. Or it could also be that if you are going to take a piece, a nugget from a longer form piece, just put a quick intro on it. Now, this works really well on YouTube because YouTube's analyzing what you're saying. It's transcribing your videos, and this can really help you get your content showing up on the platform if you're using some good describing words and keywords and things in the start of that. It's going to work for the viewer because they're going to know why they should stick around, but it's also going to work for the algorithm side of it as well.
Oh, that is fascinating because it's a tactic I've seen people use. And I've been debating whether or not to do that with our podcast here at Agorapulse because I'll see them, they'll publish the entire interview to YouTube. And we do that, and then we'll publish shorts, like either 1 or 2 vertical clips from that podcast, but that's it. We don't typically share segments of the interview as additional videos on YouTube, like 3 to 5 minute clips. We haven't done that, but I've seen a lot of other people do that. And the one thing that I've done personally, where I've seen, which is in line with what you're talking about, in print form, I have my own podcast, which I publish on Saturdays. On Sundays, I use AI. My AI chief of staff, who's named Clue, reads my transcript from that interview and generates a LinkedIn newsletter from Clue's perspective. So it's the AI's perspective on that interview. And it's just like you said, it's a summary. Now, in this case, it's a written summary, not a video summary, which I guess I could do. But there's a couple thousand people subscribed to that newsletter just to get Clue's insights into my latest interview. So yeah, it sounds like if we did what you were talking about, if I'm understanding you correctly, take like this interview and this segment right here, where you've answered and talked about this particular topic, which might be 4 minutes long, and I just insert at the beginning a little intro that says, "Hey, I talked to Justin. We were talking about AI and video tools, and he shared what he thought people should be thinking about if they want to repurpose long form content." Is that tracking with what you're
Yeah,
thinking?
for sure. Yep. And link it. I guess if it's on the YouTube
Yeah.
side, you can link it directly to the longer form one. Maybe that's your ending that you shoot at the end, your call to action. If you like this, download my whatever. And if you want to catch the full thing, like this was just 4 minutes from the hour long thing, then is linked on screen. So I guess that viewer experience thing is something that's really more powerful than ever before to consider, because that's what every algorithm is trying to give, is a good experience for its users. No matter what platform you're on, if you're having a good experience, you're enjoying your time on there, you're going to stick around longer. So any algorithm change or whatever, it's following the viewer or the user to give them a good experience.
Now, I know there's a lot of additional steps brands can take, marketers can take, YouTubers can take. I know they can add end cards, tags. They can tweak the thumbnails. I'm sure there's plenty of other things that I'm missing. How can AI help with some of those things, or can it not?
Yeah, I think even so, I would use it again as a sounding board to start with, and you can ask for feedback, especially if you're going to update a video. Like I've made this video 2 years ago, I'm going to redo it for now. Let's break down. Here's my watch time from the previous video. Here's the transcript from the previous video. And look, if you haven't done it before, maybe pick someone else's video, because you can grab the transcript of anyone's video. You won't be able to grab the watch time, but you could grab the views, and you could quiz the AI and say, like, let's help me make this again, like share my thoughts and opinions on this topic. This is what someone else has done. This is the number one video that's got millions of views. Help me break it down and help me create something maybe with a similar structure. So the content can be different, but the structure's clearly worked. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Is similar structure, similar pacing. You could also pipe in some of the user comments as well and create a better video than ones that are already out there, based on things that, if a lot of people are saying, hey, but you missed this, or what about this, is this still relevant today, you can create a better piece of content with hindsight, using things like AI to help you analyze what might have worked and what didn't work. It's just another set of eyeballs or analytical eyes on things. The other piece of this too, and it's probably more to where we were just before with the question before this, is the repurposing piece. A lot of people miss that it's a different viewer for a different type of content, or a different consumer, right? So some people will listen to a 40-minute podcast, no problem, but it's their intention when they're clicking on it is, I'm listening to a 40-minute piece of content. What if the answer that they want is buried in that podcast or something somewhere, and they don't have the mental commitment and that time to go, I need to watch the 40 minutes. So by repurposing strategically, we can still help people that maybe will only consume a 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute video, but we can also then give them the answer really quickly in a sub 30-minute or sub 60-second, 30-minute, 30-second, or 60-second as a short as well. So that's where I mean by the repurposing. We're not cannibalizing our content. We're not saying that the shorts viewer who got their answer in under a minute or under a minute and a half is now, like, they're not going to watch our other content. They might. That could be the perfect teaser segue for them to go watch the mid or the full long form version of it. Or maybe that was enough. Maybe that's all they needed, and you changed their life. They maybe signed up and worked with you. You helped them. Like, people are going to pick different things. So by repurposing strategically, we can be able to help people at different levels with different, I guess, time commitments and things going on, and also their preferences.
That's a fantastic point. I love that example, and it reminded me of another tactic I'd seen other folks use AI for, which seem to work well, which is timestamps. You throw your timestamp, the script is going to give you a wonderful transcript with the timestamps in there. Drop that into Gemini and ask it to give you your YouTube timestamps. And then I also loved your point about it identifying things you haven't talked about yet in that conversation with Mark Schaefer that I mentioned this afternoon. We were talking about his book, which was, I should grab it. His book is Audacious: How Humans Win in an AI Marketing World. And he did not use AI to draft the book, but he took the manuscript and dropped it into both ChatGPT and Gemini and asked, "What am I missing? What didn't I talk about in this entire book?" And they both came back and said, "You didn't talk about measurements and how you know if you're succeeding," which is actually a chapter he drafted and then dropped from the manuscript. So AI convinced him to drop that back in. Folks, we're talking with Justin Brown about the impact and possibilities AI represents for video production. And in a moment, we're going to talk through potential mistakes to avoid. But first, let's make sure you've got a tool in place to help you measure the effectiveness of every aspect of your social media presence.
Actually can't say enough great things about the reporting with Agora Pulse. I feel like that is my job security every month. My clients aren't that active on social media, which is why they have me manage their profiles for them. And when they get that report, it verifies that they're making a good investment.
The metrics downloads are so simple and easy to read, and it really helps me show where we are doing things right on social and where we need to improve.
So I think one of the main reasons why we decided to move to Agora Pulse is because it's a more comprehensive, integrated tool for all of our marketing needs. So rather than what we have had to do historically with Sprout, which is use certain parts of that platform that work really well and then supplement it with other outside tools, by moving to Agora Pulse, we were able to keep all of that into one technology platform, which is not only a time saver, but it also makes sure that our analytics and all of our reporting's on point because we're pulling all from the same source.
It's a really great platform for agencies. It makes it really easy to manage, but gives me really, really, really robust information that actually helps me develop better strategies for my clients and better plans of action.
So, Justin, you've already actually suggested several mistakes that you've seen B2B marketers and businesses use, using, avatars and digital versions of themselves consistently. You said, it's all right if that's your first video, but let's not lean into that as a way to create a lot of video, not having it in their voice, that sort of thing. Any other potential mistakes that you've seen B2B marketers make?
I think the biggest one is not making it them. And I know I touched on this a little earlier, but if you're using AI as your north star, as your sole point of truth, then I think it's going to come unstuck. It's going to be something that people will see right through when it's not right, when it doesn't feel right, or the information is actually wrong. So I think using it as a sounding board and then making it yours. And yes, you can train it. You can train it on your voice, but there's still going to be little bits and pieces that you want to make sure that it's yours. And I think even if we started, like as we've said, AI is a great place for helping you come up with ideas and things. But as a business, you'll already know what the top topics are. Your frequently asked questions, the things that people are the conversations you're having over and over again. Let's start there with our content creation, that we can just send those videos out to people, or they can find them themselves and they can work out if you're a fit or not based on how you're responding that. But that's where that personality and creating real authentic videos is really representing your brand. If you're seen to be using cutting corners with AI and whatever, I'm sure that's going to turn a lot of people off. And if that's the experience they're seeing before they work with you, what's the experience like when they are working with you? So being mindful again of having a good experience for your viewers, because every piece of content you put out there is showing up and representing your brand.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it boils down to storytelling, where AI is not going to tell a story. It doesn't have a story. It's going to be just regurgitating facts and information and the next logical token in the sequence based upon what you asked. It relies on you, the marketer, to weave those stories in, whether that's your story, your customer story, your brand story. That's on you to weave that in. For some of the marketers that are listening, maybe they've got some established video processes. How would you suggest that they kind of gradually integrate some of these AI tools without disrupting what might already be working for them?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And I think this is where you want to not just switch. Let's run some of these tools in parallel, especially if this is a business. If you're not a content creator where you've maybe got the flexibility to try and test stuff out, and if something fails, as a business, if we're doing this again strategically, which is what I think everyone should be doing, then I would run things in parallel. So when we're testing something, we're testing it as well as running through our regular process. If I'm testing an AI tool for editing, it's still going off to our regular editor as well, so that we can compare the results. We've got a baseline that this is what we would do with that piece of content. Let's see now how far we can push the AI to get there. I think that's a really big piece, and I think it's going to make it easier for you to test and to see what areas that you can level up in. I think time tracking on these things as well, because it might feel faster. But is it actually faster? How much time did you burn researching this stuff? So I think for a business, and like when we're testing stuff, we're running an app Clockify just to see how much time are we actually spending on this. And it's not that it's a limit on the time, but we need to know where is the dollars, where is the time going for this stuff, and that we can rein it in. Because as a creative piece and something that changes so quick, if there's no, I guess, metrics on what we're doing, then it could easily blow out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to have that baseline comparison. I know pre AI, it was taking me 2 hours to prepare for every single one of these podcast interviews that I do. I had to book that much time. I had to calendar block it, either like the day before the interview to prepare for it. Whereas now it's like 15 minutes tops. So I saved an hour and 45 minutes for every single episode, every single interview that I'm doing. And I love the fact that you talked about testing. You've mentioned that two, maybe three times already in this interview. Great reminder to all of you listening, test everything. So Justin, looking ahead, how do you see AI evolving just in the next year or two? I know we can't go 5 to 10 years out like Claude always tries to get me to ask people. That's not reasonable. But just like a year or so, specifically for B2B video marketing, and is there anything that you think us marketers should do today to prepare?
I think be playing, be testing. Always like there's so many new tools and things. I'm not saying you need to go figure them all out. Listen to podcasts that are sharing this stuff. Hear what other people are learning. How do we get the result faster? And you don't need to do all the testing yourself. But if there are specific tools that are related to what you're doing and can help you save time, then yeah, you want to jump in, spend a little bit of time, because just going through the motions of what you've already done, this is a whole new way of being able to run businesses and run our lives. Just having knowledge before and being a smart person, that's kind of irrelevant now, because everyone is now a smart person with access to AI. So it really is a whole rethink on what are the areas that I could use this to level up my personal life, planning, as you've said. And I've got to say, your podcast process that I went through to be a guest on here was awesome. It's one of the best ones that I've seen. So not only have you saved 2 hours in doing this, the experience from my side was fantastic as well. So this is the point that we want to get to. If you could just keep doing these 2 hour blocks of things that you've always done, because we have a process. And I know that in a company or a business, that's your holy grail, right? You need to follow these things. We don't break process, but we need to have at least someone out there that is testing and always evolving these processes. And I think that's the focus. So try to get across different things as they come up, subscribe to newsletters and things that are going to make this easier for you. And I would be trying to allocate some time each week to seeing what we can evolve, and always be testing.
Fantastic advice. You've been really generous with your time. So I want to give you a chance to plug yourself and Primal Video. For those listening, when should they reach out to you? What would you be able to do for them to help them?
So on our YouTube channel, we help people create videos easier. We then help them get views on it through to then the monetization. We do have one program. We have our accelerator program, which is really a deeper dive on those. So if you want to learn how we create content that shows up, I'm not trying to go viral. We're very strategic with the content we're creating. So we have a full process that we go through that uses AI now as well to help with this. Then, yeah, that's what we teach in our accelerator program. We've also got a few other editing courses and things up on Skillshare. Again, my goal is just to help people get their message out, make the video piece easier. And I geek out on this stuff. So for me to talk about this stuff, this is awesome. And it changes every week. So however we can help people make videos easier, get their message out, you have my full attention.
That's awesome. You've been amazing, Justin. For folks who want to connect directly with you or ask you questions, where should they go?
Either our website, primalvideo.com, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. YouTube doesn't have the messaging feature. It's probably a good thing, but yeah, Instagram or
Yeah.
the website. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it probably is a good thing. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, all of you, for listening. As always, we'll have all the links to Justin and everything else that we talked about in today's episode in the show notes below. That's all the time we've got for today, friends. But don't forget to find the Social Pulse Podcast B2B edition on Apple or Spotify. Drop me a review. Let me know what you thought of this episode. If you'd like to see this kind of content in the future, I'd love to know about it. Until next time. Thank you for joining another episode of Social Pulse Podcast B2B Edition, hosted by Mike Alton and powered by AgoraPulse, the leading social media management solution. Learn more at agorapulse.com. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player and leave us a review. We value your feedback and look forward to bringing you more useful insights.